DreAllDay.com.
What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Welcome to the Q&A. This is a weekly thing here on this channel. This is Q&A number 55. You are watching. For those of you who don't know how this works, quick review. I look at all the questions and comments from the previous week's Q&A. In this case, it'll be Q&A number 54. I respond to all the comments, starting from the ones that were posted first to the ones that are posted most recently, all the way through, and that makes up the next Q&A, which is this one, Q&A 55. If you have a question or comment, you leave in the comments to this video, and that'll be in Q&A 56. But make sure you're not asking me something that I already answered, which means you need to watch this video so you don't ask me the same question, because if you ask me the same question, I'm not going to answer it. So let's get right into it without any time wasted. First question is the 2K boss. He says, Dre, I am 6'4", and when I play against people, I'm usually one of the tallest, so I play center. But when I'm alone, I shoot jumpers and practice my dribbling skills since my natural position is guard. Should I develop post moves since I always play center and pick up basketball? Well, 2K boss, you don't really have to ask me that. Since you're out there playing, you know what skills you need in order to perform the best in those situations. Just because you play center doesn't necessarily mean you had to have post moves, but it couldn't hurt to have post moves. Even if you play guard, if you watch basketball, you see guards who post up all the time. Russell Westbrook's a guard who posts up a lot. Even Chris Paul, he posts up. Tim Hardaway back in the day posted up. Penny Hardaway posted up. Gary Payton posted up. So just because you play guard or whatever position you want to call yourself, any players out there, that doesn't mean there are certain skills that you should not have or should never use just because of the position you play. The positions don't matter. All that matters is how good a player is, and the more skills you have, the more skills you're able to apply in the game situation, the better player you are, regardless of your size, position, or wherever it is you're playing. So you don't have to ask somebody, should you add skills to your game? You should always add skills to your game. Next question is Raman5R. It says, Dre, your videos are amazing. What are your plans for the future? Do you see yourself becoming a coach maybe at some point? Well, Raman, thank you, first of all. But my plans for the future, you won't know my plans till you see them already come to fruition. I don't discuss or announce my plans with anybody. Do I see myself becoming a coach? I will answer that plan question. The answer to that is no. Next, Michael Patterson says, do you eat healthy? And if so, do you do cheat days? Michael, go to my website and you will see there's a page there called Diet and Nutrition. You can find it in a link under the Guides and Tips page, where I talk about, I have a whole page where I show a series of videos I did, which are on YouTube, by the way, about the type of foods I eat, the way that I eat, and the changes I've gone through. I've actually gonna make a new one very soon, because there have been some more changes since the last video, but it's a whole page of information, not only from me, but from experts who know a lot more than me about food and the type of foods that people should eat, and information that people can use to inform themselves about how to eat, because there is no one perfect way to eat. So check that page out and you'll get all the information you're looking for. Next, Low Key P says, could you say what programs I can do at home with no equipment needed? Yes, Low Key, you can do the Ultimate Athlete. It's a 15-week program, no equipment needed. That's off-court basketball training specifically for basketball athletes. You can get that at hoophandbook.com. Any of the skill programs, of course, you're going to need a basketball on the court, which I guess counts as equipment, so that wouldn't apply to your question. Keelan Carey says, how close have you come to getting to the NBA? Let's see, the closest I came, I guess, was the Sign Dre Baldwin campaign. You don't know about that. That's, again, another playlist on YouTube, and there's also a page on my website, DreAllDay.com, and a few D-League situations. Again, videos are up about that, and you can also read about that at DreAllDay.com. I guess that's a common theme to this Q&A. And Keelan asked me a second question, but Keelan, we do one question apiece here, so if you got more than one question, pick the best one. Next, Tim NGG says, is there an age limit to play college basketball? No, there's not an age limit, but there are several eligibility requirements. So you would have to look those up via the NCAA website, which has the exact specifications, because they're the ones who make the rules and they're the ones who enforce them and decide who gets to play and who doesn't. So if you want that information, you should get it straight from the people who make it. Next, Delon Williams says, how do I increase my speed to blow by defenders? Well, you have to practice speed. So you can practice speed. One way is on the court. If you want to play faster, you have to practice faster, which everyone has the capability of doing. And the second thing is you can increase your speed by doing certain training off the court, which focuses specifically on your body movements. And the Ultimate Athlete program focuses on speed in addition to quickness, agility, power, strength, flexibility, core strength, and stretching, so those, and conditioning rather. So that's a program that you can check out, same one I referenced earlier, that is available at hoophandbook.com. I put an annotation to Ultimate Athlete either up here in the video, and if you're watching mobile, you'll see annotations. It'll be down here in the video description. Next, Marcus Wheatley says, what is the correct way that you shoot? Well, the correct way to shoot is that when you shoot it, it goes in. That's the most correct way, because that's the only thing that a shot is judged by, is if you make it or if you don't make it. Because if you were to take whatever you consider to be perfect or textbook form, whatever people want to call it, and the shot's not going in, then nobody's going to say you have a great shot. A great shot is one that goes in the basket. So that's the first place you need to start from. If you're looking for some more shooting information, tips, guides, things like that, I suggest you check out the Pro Shot Shooting Handbook, which is available on my website at dreallday.com/PSS, standing for Pro Shot Shooting. Actually, one more S, Pro Shot Shooting System. So dreallday/PSSS. That's for all shooting information you would need. That handbook has all the information. It's a great tool for all people who want to learn more about shooting. GB Pack 35 says, how do you prepare a game so that you are mentally and physically prepared? Well, first of all, for the physically prepared part, you don't prepare like that day. Mentally preparing for a game is something that's more short term. If I got a game 2 days from now, I might start mentally preparing for it now, but that's only a 48-hour window. You don't physically prepare for a game in 2 days. You physically prepare your whole life leading up to the day of that game. I don't care if you got 50 games on the schedule, your whole life leading up to each game is part of your physical preparation. So you do that by practicing. Mental preparation is based on how your brain is wired. No two people are going to mentally prepare the exact same way and get the exact same result. You first of all need to know yourself. What is it that triggers you to get you into the perfect focused state? Some players you see before a game, they like to get hyped. They like to jump around, scream and yell. And you see other players who like to sit down and be quiet and not do anything. And you see other players who are just casual and relaxed, like they walking in the park. But each way can work for each person, to each his own. So you have to figure out what works best for you to perform at your highest level. And once you know what that is, then you can start to work on what are the things that you can do, whether that be something you read, something you think about, a place you go, a person you hang with, some music you listen to, a picture you look at, to get you into that mental frame of mind. But that is work that you need to do. So now that you know that what the steps are to get there, now you're responsible to take action on that information. Lumumba Bataille says, I love your motivational videos. Well, thank you, Lumumba. He said, they help me a lot, especially the ones about focusing your emotions outward. Thank you so much, Dre. Well, you're welcome, Lumumba. I'm glad to hear that. ZZZCH3. This is Dre. I'm 14. I have good ball handling skills. I can slash the hoop whenever I want. I have good form, and my dad's a coach. He gives him lots of help from his coach father. But I can't seem to keep my form consistent or my shot. What can I do to keep it consistent? Well, consistency, CH3, comes from repetition. Repetition is the mother of skill, the mother of learning. I'm sure you all have heard that cliche. So you're going to have to practice your shooting form, whatever form it is you have. Since your dad's helping you, he's a coach. You have a shooting form. Since you're getting help, you need to practice it over and over and over again. Repetition. So it's not about doing it once. It's not about doing it just in the games. It's about you putting in the practice time so that you worked on it so much that you do it without thinking about it. Chazelle24 says, Dre, I enjoy your videos. I know nutrition is key to helping the body perform at a higher level. I was wondering if you had thought of doing a video on some healthy food recipes. Well, Chazelle, yes, I thought of it probably 2 years ago, because that's when I made a series of diet and nutrition videos. So you probably weren't around for that since you don't know about it. And as I referenced earlier, there's a whole playlist here on YouTube on my channel that's called Diet and Nutrition. So number one, check that out. Number two, check out the Diet and Nutrition page on my website, dreallday.com, where I address in detail a bunch of diet and nutrition questions for those of you who don't have the information, because I know a lot of you don't have it. So I shared it. I went and looked up a bunch of information that's not from me, but from people who are experts in that field, because I am not an expert. So you can get your information not only from me, but from third parties, people who've done a lot of research and basically dedicated their business lives to getting this information out to people. And again, I'm going to be coming with a new video very soon. I'm actually put out a video gathering questions from people, and then I'm going to address those questions and share with y'all some new information in a new video that will be coming very soon. Next, Lauren Mitchell says, I'm 16. I've been playing the post until this year. I started to play guard now because I'm fast, I shoot the ball well, and I can drive to the hoop. But my ball handling needs work. I also play post, point, and guard. How can I get better at playing multiple positions? Well, Lauren, playing multiple positions, the positions don't really matter. When you're playing a different position, only two things are going to change. Number one, the things that are asked of you based on the team that you're on. Number two, the players you're going to have to match up with. And that means on offense and on defense. So in basketball, if you can't guard a certain position, then you can't play that position. So if someone says they're a point guard, but they can't guard point guards, then they're not really a point guard. We might have to try you at a different spot. If someone says they're a center, but they can't guard a center, opposing center, then they can't play center. We got to find you a new position. So that's the defensive side of things. On the offensive side of things, just because you're playing a certain position doesn't mean you need to use certain skills. It's all based on, number one, the team you're on, because you have to fit within the framework of everyone else on the team and what the coach is asking of you if you happen to have a coach. If we're talking about an organized team that has coaches. And you need to use certain skills. So what is it you want to have in your games? Just because you're playing a certain position doesn't mean you need to do X, Y, Z. Just because you're playing center doesn't mean you have to have a hook shot and a turnaround and be able to score from the right block. And just because you're playing point guard doesn't mean you have to shoot threes and have a crossover and be able to blow by guys. Not necessarily. It depends on what skills you want to have in your game. So the first thing you need to do, Lauren, is figure out what your game is. You want to be able to play all five positions, there's nothing wrong with that. So figure out what skills you want to have in order to do that. And you're the one out there playing in the game, so you know what skills you need to work on, what skills you're good at, and what skills will help your game based on the results you're getting when you play. So you need to answer that question first. What is your game going to be? And then once you figure that out, work on the skills that are missing. And the skills that you have, you can't not work on those anymore because they'll start to atrophy if you don't work on them. Next, TJ Hargrove says, Dre, in your video intro, you have a Miami Heat jersey on. What is that all about? What Miami Heat jersey? Next, Cliff Stevens says, Dre, you should put out another reintroduction video. That was one of my favorite vids. He's referring to a video I put out that was maybe 3 or 4 years ago called Reintroduction. If you haven't seen it, of course, you can look that up. He says he read a book called Mastery by Robert Greene, who is my favorite author, actually. He said I had recommended the book to him a while back. I probably remember when I recommended it because it was right after I had read it. It might have been long after I read it, but of course I remember it. And he says he finally read it. He thanks me because it was a great book. He's going to read the 48 Laws of Power, so thanks for the recommendations. It changed his life. I'm glad to hear that, Cliff. I hope it leads you to further success. As I said, Robert Greene is my favorite author. Mastery was a great book. 48 Laws is my favorite book, so I think you will enjoy it. You'll learn a lot from it. Next, Sean Lewis says, what's the best thing for you to do to jump higher? Well, there's a lot of things you can do to jump higher, Sean. The best thing you could do, I would say, is for you to do a comprehensive program that will increase your overall athletic ability. Because just being able to jump high itself is not really worth it if you can't actually get to the spot where jumping high matters, right? So you're going to need quickness, you're going to need agility, you need power, you need reaction time, you need speed. So all of those things factor into jumping. Because if you're great at dunking but you can't even get to the rim, then it won't even matter, right? So I would say you check out the jump manual at dreallday.com/jump. That's the best thing you can do for your vertical. Nonit Omat says, Dre, I'm in 6th grade. I play like 2 minutes on a 7th and 8th grade team. How can I play more minutes? Talk to your coach and ask the coach, what can you do to get more playing time? Whatever they say, start doing that. Next, Elon Schwartzman says, if I buy the jump manual, will I get a free hoop handbook? You can actually get 5 free skill programs or free signature workout programs. The answer is yes. And the offer for anyone who doesn't know about that is at dreallday.com/jump higher. That's one word, dreallday/jump higher. You'll see the offer for the jump manual. If you bought the jump manual using my link, not just from anywhere, but if you use my link and you go to there, you'll see the instructions. You'll send me your confirmation receipt and you'll get the free programs. Again, go to that page, you'll see the details so you get it right. 24 Luong says, what's up, Dre? What are the things I need to do to recover from soreness? Well, it depends on what the soreness is. You can use ice, you use rest, and drink a lot of water. In general, those will help recover from any soreness, and it's going to take time. You're not always going to feel Perfect. There will be soreness if you're training harder than your body is used to being trained. Tom says, how can I get better at dribbling? I am short, so I play guard. Well, you need to get on the court with a basketball and work on your dribbling. That's how you can get better at it. And since you're here, Tom, I'm sure you know that I put out other videos besides just the Q&A. So watch the ball handling videos I put out. I have over 300, probably close to 400 posted now, and 2 ball handling DVDs available at hoophandbook.com. So you have all the resources available to you. The only thing that's missing is you doing the work. I am dumb says, nice job with all the vids, Dre. Have you ever thought about making WOYG underwear? Yeah, but they would not be for males. They will only be for females, but that hasn't come yet. But it is an idea in the pipeline. Thanks for asking. Arthur 23 says, how tall were you when you were 15? And when you hit your growth spurt, how much taller are you than your dad? Well, I have no answers to the first 2 questions because I don't know how tall I was at 15. I don't know when I hit my growth spurt. So I can't really give you any information. I can give you some roundabout stuff, but that would be useless to you for the fact that it wouldn't be accurate. It would also be useless to you because how tall I was and when I hit my growth spurt has no bearing whatsoever on you because we don't have the same genes at all. And even if I was your brother or cousin or your father or son, it still wouldn't matter because you see people who are way taller or shorter than their parents. So it has nothing to do with anything. And to answer your third question, how much taller am I than my dad? I'll preface this by saying this has no bearing again on you. It's just if I'm taller or shorter, the same height as my dad, that doesn't mean it's going to happen to you at all. But since you're asking, I'll tell you, my dad is probably about 5'9", and I'm 6'4", so what's that? 7 inches. Next, Shaquille Green says, Dre, I'm a longtime fan of your vids. Keep up the good work. Keep them coming. I have learned a lot from you. Thank you, Shaquille, and I will. And he says he's 19, he's 6'4", 215 pounds, but he can't dunk consistently. Some days he dunks easily, and some days he tries to dunk and he gets stuffed at the rim, as in the ball hits the rim instead of going in the basket. Although he's very skilled at shooting and playing in the post. How can he get more inches to dunk earlier, easier? Well, Shaquille, you can do what I said earlier, dreallday.com/jump. Use a comprehensive program. Since you already have some athletic ability, you have some height, you will be able to dunk if you go through the 12-week program following the instructions of the program. Next, Master Nizuma says, what's a good way or drill I can work on shooting, layups, and stamina all in one? You can do a full court layup drill, which of course I have a video on posted here on this channel, and you just look up full court layup drill. I think if you search Russell Westbrook, John Wall, I think I put their names in the title. That's a full court speed drill where you work on your speed, you work on your handle, and your finishing all at the same time, and your stamina and conditioning. Darren Laura says, do you ever think about going to church? Well, Darren, how you know that I don't go to church now? Ahmed Masood says, do you think Anthony Davis will be a top 3 power forward of all time? Well, he's a long way from that, so we had to let a couple years go by and see what he does. McCurman 35 says, keep up the good work. I love the vids. Well, thank you, McCurman. I will. I appreciate that. Benjamin Hayes says, Dre, I'm a sophomore. I play on my varsity team. One of our seniors left the team. He always used to get everyone pumped up for the game in a way that I can get my teammates pumped up. He said, what's a way that he can now take that senior's place and get his teammates pumped up for the game and energetic? Thanks for putting out your vids. I love using your drills when I practice. Well, Benjamin, I can't really tell you what's going to get other people pumped up because, as I said before, every person is wired differently. Not everybody wants to get pumped up before a game. Some people just want to relax and get focused. Some people want to just be calm and is almost like is a normal, like when they're sitting in class at school. Some people want to get excited. So you don't know that everyone wants to get pumped up. But if you want to get your teammates pumped up, why don't you start by trying what that other guy used to do? Since you saw that worked, why don't you just copy what he did and do that and see what works? And then from those results, you can tweak it and say, okay, so you try something, and then you pay attention to what other results you're getting, and then you tweak your actions until you get the right result. That's basically how it works. It's the same thing in practicing basketball. You practice something, then you see what the results are, and then you tweak the way you're practicing it until you get the proper results. And the thing that happens with a lot of people is they get so caught up in the analysis, asking questions, watching videos, reading, thinking, watching, talking to people. They never get to the work part, so they never see what the results are, and then they never can make tweaks because they haven't done any work yet. So for you, Benjamin, actually go do something, see what the results are, and then tweak it based on that. Juan Ruiz says, how do you warm up before games? Stretching, drills, and mentally. By the way, I love your vids. They help a lot. But Juan, someone asked me earlier about that. As far as the mental side, I already addressed that. As far as the stretching and drills, if you play on a team that has a coach, Juan, you probably have a warm-up routine. But since you're asking, maybe you don't. What I like to do before a game, I can tell you very quickly. I go through a high knees full court, then I do butt kicks full court, then I do the hip swings where you put your hand up against the wall and you swing your leg side to side, then forward and backward, the same thing. Then I do a series of walking lunges where I'm stretching the hip flexor and do a twist, so you twist out that hip. Then what else do I do? Then I do a couple of just high jumps, just jump as high as you can, about 3 to 5 times. Then I get up on a ledge and stretch out the calf muscle. That's it. And that takes me about 5 to 10 minutes, and then I'm on the court, layup drill. Next, Yelnats 1 2 3 4. And oh yeah, back to Juan's question. That thing that I just described to you, you can probably guess what I'm going to say. There's a video on it, and it's already on my YouTube channel. Just look up Dynamic Warm Up, or you just look up my whole playlist. It's called Warm Up. There's a playlist called Warm Up that goes through everything I just said. Yelnats 1 2 3 4 says, Dre, do you think there'll ever be an 82-0 team in the NBA, or a team that beats the 96 Bulls record of 72-10? 82-0, no. I don't think anybody is going to go 82-0. It's just too many. It's too many other teams out there that are so good. The thing about the NBA is everybody in the NBA is good. Every player, that is. Every team's not good, but every player is good. So any player can have a great game on any given night. So I think 82-0, I don't think that's going to happen. But as far as beating 72-10, I think that is possible. I don't know who, where, or what, but I think it's possible. Will it happen? What team? I can't say that. Dimitri 22100 says, Dre, I have a 10-foot basketball goal in my yard, but it's so cold that I can barely go and practice. Plus, there isn't a gym that I can go to that's nearby. Are there any tips on how to beat the cold? Well, just go out there and beat it, Dimitri. I mean, put some gloves on, put a coat on, put a hat on, put on some long sleeves, some sweatpants, a sweatsuit, whatever you got to do. I mean, you know what you got to do when you go outside to go to school or go to the store when it's cold. Do the same thing, just play basketball instead. I know it's a challenge, but if that's all you got, that's all you got. And he says, I play against players that are either on the basketball team or have already been on it. He plays basketball a lot. Sometimes they get in his head when they trash talk or they just play better than him. It frustrates him a lot because there's so much more experience and better. How can I overcome this? Well, it's easy, Dimitri. You just got to even the playing field, which means you need to get more experience and you need to get better, which means you need to play more and you need to practice more. So you already know about the practice part because you got a basket right there in your house. So go do the work. And if you want more experience, you got to play in more games. That's just how it goes. JW says, what are my thoughts on talent and skill? JW, that's a very broad question. You had to ask me something much more specific than that. Ali is awesome, says Dre. How tall were you as a teen? Well, I was a teen for like 6 years, JW. Ali, counting age 13 to 18 inclusive, that's 6 years. So, no, actually, you forgot about age 19, so that'd be 7 years. So I would need a more accurate question than that, but even if you had one, Ali, as I said before, I don't know how tall I was. I didn't keep track. There's no like wall with markings on it that says how tall I was at whatever age, so I don't know. And even if I did know, it wouldn't matter because that doesn't mean that's how tall you're going to be, and how tall I ended up, that does not mean that's how tall you're going to end up. We have completely different genetic codes. How tall I was or am or going to be or used to be has no bearing on how tall you're going to be. That's for everybody out there. It doesn't matter. You can't affect your height. You cannot do anything about your height. And it doesn't matter what anybody else's height was. The only thing you can affect are your abilities to play the game. So that's what people should focus on. Demba Kamada says, Dre, do you currently play overseas or are you going to try out for the D-League again? Answers to those questions, I actually answered those in the vid called, what did I call that vid? If you just search my name, Dre Baldwin overseas, I put out like a 40-minute video in the fall of 2013 where I address all of this stuff. So the answer to the question is no, I am currently not on the team. And am I going to try for the D-League again? Probably not. That's a 99% no, I'm not. But again, if you watch the video that I put out, you'll understand the context behind all of that stuff. Yoel Guide says, Dre, I got a serious question. He says, how's it feel to not play in the NBA? He says, I'm getting better every day, but I know He said he plays every day, but he knows that not everyone makes it. So how do you deal with it? Do you feel like you failed or that you weren't good enough? Or do you brush it off and start living like the best way that you could? I would probably be depressed for a while and feel like I failed. So I'm wondering how you deal or dealt with it. Well, it's not even that situation. When you look at a situation like the NBA, like I addressed in the video that I just referenced, so you can go watch that video. So I'm not even going to go too detailed into this because you can watch that video where I explained it perfectly. I said everything that needed to be said. You can't really control what somebody else decides to do. The NBA is a job. It's not like being a doctor where if all of us decide to be doctors, we could all start our own practices. And the NBA is a job. It's 450 to 500 jobs roughly. Once those are filled, everybody can't get in. So it doesn't matter how good you are. So if there were 1,000 people in the world with the same skill level as LeBron James, at least half of them wouldn't be in the NBA, no matter how good they are, because there are only 450 spots. So things that you cannot control, you can't tie yourself emotionally to something that you don't control. So I learned a long time ago, I don't remember how or why, what it was, but I learned a long time ago that I don't connect myself emotionally to anything over which I don't have full control, because then I can only disappoint myself when it's something that I control. So if I say I'm going to go work out every day for the next 7 days and then 3 of those days I don't work out, then I'll be disappointed in myself because I had total control over my actions. I didn't do it. But if I say I'm going to go put in this work and be ready and have my skill level high and be prepared for an opportunity that may come, and the opportunity doesn't happen, or for whatever reason it doesn't go the way that I wanted it to go, I'm not disappointed because I didn't have control over that opportunity happening, but I did have control over the preparation. So if I got the opportunity and I wasn't prepared, then I would have to live with that for the rest of my life, that disappointment. But if I'm prepared and the opportunity just doesn't happen for whatever reason, again, reference the video that I just talked about, then I can't be disappointed in that. I only focus on what I can control. So the things that I can control, I'm happy about because I know I've done the things that I need to do, whether that be basketball, off the court, everything that's happened already, everything that's happening now, and everything that's going to happen in the future. Good question. Next is Kevin since 1993. He says, if you dream of making it to the NBA, and even if you're persistent and never give up and you don't make it, how do you overcome that? Even if it's not the NBA that your dream is, what would you do if you don't realize your dreams? So it's kind of like a question in a similar vein. So he's saying, even if your dream is not basketball, let's say you dream to do something else and it doesn't happen, what will you do if you don't realize your dream? Well, the first thing you could do, Kevin, is get a new dream. I mean, life goes on. So if you have, let's say you had a dream of, let's say you're 16 and you want to go play at Duke University. You want to play for Coach K at Duke. And for whatever reason, Duke doesn't recruit you, or you apply to Duke and you don't get in, or you send a video to Coach K and he doesn't respond to your email. So you don't get into Duke and you end up going to some other college, and your only dream is to go play for Coach K. Well, guess what? You still got the whole rest of your life to live. How much longer do you plan on being alive? You need to get a new dream. Let that one go because it's over. Again, it's the same thing. You don't control what Coach K decides. So we could say anything. We could say if you want to go work at the Cleveland Clinic, which is a famous hospital, and they don't hire you. You go work at a different clinic and you go start your own medical practice, or you go work at a hospital. You still got to live the whole rest of your life. You can't live your whole life focused on something which you don't have control over. So when we talk about dreams, my advice to people when it comes to designing your dream is design your dreams based on things that you control. If your dream is connected to something you don't have control over, then you are setting yourself up for disappointment, because even if it happens, something that you don't control, it happens. Let's say you want to play for Coach K and he recruits you and you get on the team, and then he decides, oh yeah, well, you were a 4-star recruit, but this 5-star recruit who plays the same position as you, he wants to come here now, so I'm going to take back the scholarship offer I gave you, so you're out of there. You don't control that. You have no control over that. So you're setting yourself up for disappointment when your dream or your goal is connected to someone else's decision. Connect your dreams and your goals to things that you control, so that you can look at it, you can look in the mirror and hold yourself accountable. If somebody else, you have no control over any other person. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your girlfriend, your husband, your best friend. You don't control what other people do. Connect your dreams and your goals to what you can do, so that you can hold yourself accountable, so that at the end of your life, at the end of your days, or at the end of each day, end of each week, month, year, whatever way you set your goals up, And as a matter of fact, I'm going to make a video about that on my Dre All Day channel. That's YouTube/Dre All Day. That's my off-court channel where I talk about other off-court stuff. Connect your goals to things you control so that you hold yourself accountable and you can say, okay, I did this, I didn't do this. You don't have any dreams just sitting out there and just hanging up in the air because you're waiting for somebody else to do something before you can say this dream either happened or didn't happen. Everything should be something that you control so that you know you can look at this list of 100 goals and say, okay, I need to take these actions to make each one of these goals happen. Any goal that's under somebody else's control, you just got to wait until they do something. And when you're waiting for other people to do things in order for you to feel success or failure, then you're dependent on other people. You don't have control. You don't have power. You want to have the power in your life. You have to have complete control over the way you set things up. So set the game up for you to win. You do that by making sure you have control over all your outcomes, all your goals, all your expectations. Next question. Yakude says, I'm a 6'2" forward. My last game, my team lost by 50 points. That's a bad loss. I felt terrible after that game. I was tired and slow, so I started working on my stamina and speed by myself. I told my coach that I can't practice sometimes just to improve. Was that a smart move from my side? What should I do to make sure my shoes don't slip during practice in a game? So his first question was, he said he told his coach that he can't practice because he wants to improve. Was that a good, smart move from my side? Well, I will look at it as a coach, Yakude. If you tell me as a player that you can't practice because you want to improve on your own, I would say, okay, if that's your decision, then I'm not going to convince you to come to practice if you don't want to. But guess what? When it's time for the games, you'll be on the bench because the guys who showed up to practice, they'll be the ones playing. So you want to improve in order to play in the games, right? You want to play better in the games, but you can't get in the games if you're not in practice. So what you need to do, if you want to improve on your own, you need to do that outside of practice time. But you can't not go to practice because then you won't get in the games. That makes no sense at all. So what you need to do is go back to the coach and say, forget what I just said. What do I need to do to get back on this team and get back in practice? You need to practice if you want to play in the games. And about your shoes slipping during practice in the game, what I like to do is just wipe the bottom of my shoes. If you watch some of my older videos, you'll see me wiping the bottom of my shoes all the time. But there is a product that came out. I think it's called Court Grip. Dwayne Wade was a big endorsee of the program. The product that you wipe on the bottom of your shoes, and it supposedly gives you grip. I never used it, so I don't know, but you can try that. Dimitri Dimitri, you already asked me a question though. We can't keep going on with questions. Everybody got to get a chance to ask. One question each. Raul Marmolejo says, you ever had bad games? And when you do you beat yourself up for it? Meaning get mad for yourself. Of course, every player has bad games. I don't care how good or bad of a player, how experienced or unexperienced, everyone has bad games. So the answer is yes. And do I get mad with myself? No. I just analyze what happened in the game. I think about what did I do wrong? Was the other player just better than me, which means I need to improve my skill? Was I not prepared, meaning maybe it's a skill thing, maybe it was a mental thing, or was it just the breaks of the game? If you play enough basketball, eventually you're going to run into a player who just makes a shot when you play great defense, or you're going to do a move perfectly and then you're just going to miss the shot because that's just a mechanical, physical thing. No human being is perfect. So yes, I do have bad games. Do I beat myself up about it? No. Like your Bulls 241. Says, ever been a time in your life where you got bored from playing basketball and needed to take a break from the game? No. If I ever took a break from the game, it wouldn't be more than a day, maybe a week, but not even that long, I don't think. Because if it's something that you really want to do, then you'll keep going with it. If that's really what you're passionate about or you dedicated yourself to doing it, then no. But that's just the way I'm thinking about myself. You personally, that might happen to you, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you don't want to play basketball all day, every day, that's fine. Not everybody has to play basketball all day. And even if you play basketball all the time now, if you decide next week that basketball is not the thing you want to do, cool, go do something else. There's nothing wrong with that. It's your life. You're the only one who gets to decide what you should be doing. And when your life is over, the only person who has the answer for that is you. Did you do what you wanted to do with your life? If basketball is what you want to do, then do it. And basketball is what you want to do just sometimes. You just want to do it for fun and you want to do something else with the rest of your time, then you go do that. Because success in life, I say, is measured by a person who does what they want to do when they want to do it, not what other people think they should do. Next, DC is paid. It says, is it okay to add condiments and things to the things you eat, like a paleo diet, like eating more fruits and vegetables with ranch sauce and yogurt, like ranch salad dressing and yogurt? Well, is it okay is kind of a very relative question, DC. It depends on what your goals are, and that will be based on, first of all, you got to figure out what your goals are. What is it you're trying to accomplish? And then you would have to get the information to know what it is that's in these condiments. What is it you're putting in your body? So then you can measure that against your goals. So it's very general question to ask, is it okay? It depends on what we're measuring okay by. But again, when I put out this next diet and nutrition video, y'all will get more information and you'll be able to ask that question in that video. Derek Rose says, I lost my duffel bag with some new Hyper Dunks. I had a jersey and a basketball before this game after school one time. He couldn't catch the bus in time because he never had his stuff. Later he realized he had left it in the library. So it's annoying because he says situations like this are annoying. He said, are these situations part of life or am I just unlucky? Please be straight up like always. Well, Derek Rose, please be straight up. When people ask me to please be straight up, they usually want me to answer a question a certain way, but I don't do that. Is the situation a part of life or am I just unlucky? Well, Derek Rose, the funny thing about that is I was listening to this Tony Robbins, and one of the things Tony Robbins always says is ask yourself a better question. So you got a choice between those two questions, because those are the two you presented to me. Are these a part of life or am I unlucky? Ask yourself this. Which question will make you feel a certain type of way about yourself? If you say to yourself, okay, this unfortunate situation happened, it's just a part of life, it's just something that happened, I'll move on, tomorrow is a new day. How would you feel about yourself if you looked at it that way, right? Now hold that in your mind. Now ask yourself this. If you say, okay, well, I'm just an unlucky person, bad things just happened to me, some stupid thing happened, I missed the game, it ruined everything, I'm just unlucky, which means some more unlucky stuff is bound to happen again soon. How are you going to feel about yourself if you look at it that way? So ask yourself which one is a better question. And then ask yourself this third thing. How can you ask an even better question? How can you say, how can I use this? How can I use this situation and say, okay, why don't I come up with a routine so that every day I make sure I pack the proper things and I put them in the proper space, and now I know, okay, at 12 o'clock I need to do this, at 8 o'clock I need to do this, the day before the game I need to pack this stuff. If I go to this place in the building, in the library, I gotta make sure I got this checklist of things I gotta make sure I do so I don't forget anything, make sure these things are in my locker, and I can come up with a routine. So now I can use that unfortunate situation to spur me forward to do these things, which will actually help me better in the future. If it didn't happen, I would never have even come up with this routine. So ask yourself a better question. Those two options you gave, one of them is definitely the better option. I'm not going to tell you which one that is. I think you are smart enough to figure that out. But you can take even from those two in every situation that happens in your life. And for anyone else out there, ask yourself a better question. Don't tell yourself, okay, I'm unlucky, or I'm just not good, or it's not meant to be. And when you ask a better question, your brain will do whatever you tell it. If you tell your brain that you're unlucky, you know what your brain is going to do? It's going to start telling you all the reasons you're unlucky. It's going to take everything that happened to you that didn't go the way you wanted it to, and it's going to say, you know what, you're unlucky because this happened, and then you're unlucky because this happened, and you're unlucky because this other thing happened, and it's just going to keep feeding those things to you. The brain is the most dutiful servant known to man. Whatever information you feed it is going to give you what you ask for. So if you ask a better question, like, how can I use this to my benefit to make my life better? If you ask yourself that question about everything that happens to you, your brain is going to tell you ways you can make your life better. So the difference between somebody who takes the same situation that happened to you, they left their bag in the library, and they ask themselves, how can I use this to make me better? And the person who asks, okay, well, I guess I'm just unlucky. Why am I so unlucky? They're going to go completely different paths because of the questions that they ask themselves. And you have 100% control over the questions you ask yourself. Abdul Ka says, on an unrelated note, what book do you recommend to others? Well, it depends on the topic. If you're looking for a certain book, if you ask me about a topic, I can give you a good book on it, because I read a lot of books. I've written 4 books myself. So if on a joking side, but not really, what book I recommend to you is anything by Dre Baldwin. So go to Amazon or iBooks and look up Dre Baldwin. You'll see my books. But if there's a specific topic you're asking about, ask me and I'll tell you. And for those of you who haven't seen, on my website, dreallday.com, under the About section, you'll see a link called Books That I Read. And I have a list of almost every book I've read. Not all of them, but almost every book I've read. I've written reviews on them. So you can check those out and see what works for you. You might be interested in something that I've read. Kenneth Ortiz says, how many hours a day did you practice when you first started playing at age 14? Well, Kenneth, I don't know. I didn't really measure it in hours. I didn't measure my training in hours. I still don't. And you shouldn't measure your training in hours either. It's really about what you're accomplishing. So when you go anywhere, it's another Tony Robbins thing. Whenever you do anything in life, ask yourself, what is my outcome? What is it I'm trying to achieve by doing this? And one thing that Tony says, I've been listening to his tape recently. He says, even if you're going to hang with one of your friends, if you just say to yourself, what's my outcome here? My outcome is to have fun and enjoy each other's company. If you set that in your mind as the outcome, you don't have to write it down or announce it to your friend even. But if you just tell your mind, this is my outcome in doing this, you'll probably have more fun than if you just go over there and just whatever happens, happens. And when you set an outcome in your mind, again, your brain is the most perfect servant you will ever have. There's no employee you will ever hire who will do your job, who will do their job better than your brain does. Because everything you tell your brain, it will do exactly as you tell it. It's like a computer. It never messes up. It will do exactly as you tell it. So if you give yourself an outcome, such as, this is what I want to get better at making layups today. I want to be smooth with my left hand layups after my practice today. Now, let's say you only have an hour. So you want to use that hour. So you say, I want to use this hour to get better at my left hand layups. So I want to use this 15 minutes to feel more comfortable shooting 3-pointers. I want to use this 2 hours to be in better physical shape. So I want to do a whole bunch of sprints and the stuff that the coach has us do in practice. Set an expectation for what you want to achieve based on if you have a time constraint, because I know a lot of you do. Even adults, we have time constraints too when we do things. But when you set an outcome, your brain starts to work towards the goal that you give it. If you don't give your brain a goal, then you're just out there floating by the wind. Next, Dmitry Hejtukovic says, Dre, would you consider using clips from EuroLeague games for the Move of the Night series? Dmitry, that's a good question, but probably not, because I don't really pay attention to EuroLeague, so I probably wouldn't use their clips. Eduardo Cruz says, I come from a really small family. I'm 5'3" in 8th grade. I play point guard for my team. He says I have to play point guard for my team. Can I tell him what a point guard needs to know mentally? He's good at dribbling and shooting, but he needs to know how to use those skills in a game. Love your vids and keep up the good work. Thanks. Well, thank you, Eduardo. So you have good dribbling skills and good shooting skills, and you want to be able to use those in a game. So what you need to do, Eduardo, is play in games. You will learn how to do things in games by playing in games. You can't really learn the game of basketball. Like, I put out a video earlier this week for those who didn't see it. It's called How to Play Basketball as Good as You Practice Basketball. And this is a common problem that a lot of players have. I had this problem when I was coming up. You're not going to learn how to play basketball well just by thinking, watching, talking, listening, reading. You have to go out there and play. And when you first start playing, you're probably not that good at applying your skills that you have from practice into the games. You're not going to be good at applying it at first. Nobody just walks into the game of basketball and just is great out of nowhere without ever playing in any games. That doesn't happen. So guess what? You're going to take your lumps. You're going to take losses. You're going to get beat. You're going to get embarrassed, crossed over, scored on, dunked on, whatever it is you consider to be the worst thing that could happen to you on the court. If you play enough, it's going to happen. If you're playing against players better than you, it's going to happen. Excuse me. So what you need to do, Eduardo, is playing more games, improve your skills in practice on your own. That's the toolbox that I talked about in that video. And then you go out and you apply those in the games. That's like working on your house, like I talked about in the vid. So look up that video, How to Play Basketball as Good as You Practice Basketball. That will help you a lot in developing those skills. But the first thing you got to do is figure out mentally. You got to accept mentally that there are going to be some lumps along the way and be ready to take those. Because when people can't take them, they quit. And then, well, you can just forget about it. Next, Ball and Buckets. Says, who do you think will win the championship, the NBA championship, if it was the Warriors against the Hawks? I don't know. That'd be a great series, actually, because both teams is playing great right now. If I had to choose, I would go with the Hawks. Last question, Ty Breezy says, what happened to your subscribers? You had like 95K and now only 4,000. No, Ty Breezy, you are mistaken. 4,000 is the number of videos I got. That's not the number of subscribers. But thanks for the question. That's it, everybody. Thank you for the Q&A this week. Y'all are asking me very good quality questions. Please keep these up. I'll keep up the answers. Again, if you have a question I haven't addressed, leave it down in the comments to this video. Check the annotations I got up there and also the links in the video description for the training programs, books, links to my website, and everything else that I discussed here. Make sure y'all subscribe to my channel. I'll put out new videos every single day on this channel. I know some other people on YouTube starting to do that now, but they all just copying me. And I ain't even got to get into that. But that's it. That's all. Work on your fucking game. Dre all day. Oh yeah, WOYG.net, where you can get the gear, the hat, the shirt, everything else, hoodies. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com. Thanks for checking out this video. Make sure you follow all my top content up here. Follow me on all your favorite social networks right over here. And make sure you are subscribed to catch all the new content I put on this channel every single day.